Alright guys, Bryson, what was the GCF on number 6?
2AB.
2AB, perfect. Alright, AJ, if I take out a 2AB out of this first term, what do I have left?
You said 2 of them out?
Yeah, if I take a 2AB out of this first term.
1?
4 divided by 2.
Oh, 2.
Okay.
Sure.
How many A's and B's I got left? There you go. Alright, let's see. Jenny, if I take out a 2AB from that second term, where are you at? There you are. Sorry. How many do I have left? Very good. Positive AB. Alright, and then let's see. Mallory, if I take out a 2AB out of that last term, what do I have left? Perfect. Alright, everybody okay? Okay, what about number 7? How many terms does number 7 have, guys? That's 4 terms, so what do we do when we have 4 terms?
Group.
We do group, there you go. Alright, what do the first 2 have in common? They got an X in common. So Jalen, when I take out an X, what do I have left? Perfect. Alright, now look, guys. Y and 2, they have something in common. What do they have in common? What number? 1. What kind of 1? Positive 1. There you go. And Y minus 2. Do they match up? Yeah. So, Nathan, what would I write?
X plus 1.
Yeah. And Y minus 2. Perfect. Very good. That's why you had to have that plus 1, because if you didn't have that plus 1, then you just would have had X written there instead of X plus 1. Okay. Alright, what about number 8? How many terms does number 8 have? 3 terms. Do they have anything in common? Nope. So how do I do it? There you go. What's the factors of the back number?
1 and 12.
Yeah.
2 and 6.
Yeah.
3 and 4.
Alright. What's that number in the middle that it's going to add or subtract to be?
1.
Oh, careful.
Oh, negative 1.
Negative 1. Alright, so which one of those is going to add or subtract to be negative? How? 3 minus 4. There you go. Positive 3 and negative 4. There you go. Everybody okay so far?
What you say? What?
Hope she grows up to be just like Bryson. It's kind of scary.
You gonna be like Bryson's brother? He's smart.
Alright. Bryson's smart too when he applies it. Alright, number 9. How many terms number 9 got? 2 terms. They have anything in common? Nope. But they're both perfect squares. There you go. Alright, 2 parentheses. Here we go. How do you split up 1? What number times what number is 1? There you go. Alright, how many H's do you have?
4.
How do you split those into 2 spots? H squared and H squared. There you go. And what kind of signs multiply to be a negative? Positive and negative. There you go. But you're not done. Look at the subtraction. Is a 1 a perfect square? Yeah. Is H squared a perfect square? So you can do it again. You can do it again. All right, bring down the 1 plus H squared. And then we're going to split up the other one. How do you split up 1 again? 1 and 1. There you go. All right, this time how many H's do you have to split up? 2. How do you split them into 2 spots? H and H. There you go. And then how do you split up a negative sign? Positive and negative. There you go. That's your answer. You just had to do it twice. Same thing we've been doing. You just had to do it twice. Y'all okay? All right, we got one more to do. How many terms does that back one have? 3 terms. But guys, what makes it different than number 8? What's different about 10 from 8? There's a number in the front. There you go. So you got to do the slide, divide, bottoms up thing that we did yesterday. All right, here we go. Slide the 2 to the back. What's 2 times 9? How much? 18. There you go. Okay, what's the factors of 18? 6 and 3. 2 and 9. And then what was the other one? 1 and 18. All right, but I'm trying to get to what number? 3. Which one adds or subtracts to be 3? How 6 and 3? Give me that one. Positive 6 minus 3. There you go. Are you okay so far? Hunter, you good? Alright, that's the slide part. Then you got to do the divide part. What number did you slide to the back? 2, so you got to divide by 2. Does 6 divide by 2? Yeah, that's easy. What's that? N plus 3. There you go. But does the 3 divide by 2? No, that's the bottoms up part. What's the bottom number? 2, so it comes to the front. And then minus 3. Alright, so here we go. I got test graded from yesterday. I'm going to hand it back to you real quick. Oh, I think they're on. They weren't bad, actually.
That's the first time I
I never like
That's the first time I ever been in this class.
Alright, Cole, Wilmer, Madison, AJ, Jalen, Riley, Jenny, Ramiro.
Jalen, get mine.
Alright, when you get finished looking at it, where's it go? AJ, get off the phone, let's go, son.
He walked with me and like came over my car and looked everywhere for me, and then I was like crying and I went through my backpack again and I fell in.
Dylan, Nathan, Colton, and Valerie.
My parents were in Texas, like it was so crazy.
What you made, Jalen?
There were some of them that I thought were less blank, so I didn't grade them yet, because I thought you were finished.
I got all them right.
So I didn't grade them yet. What I was supposed to do,
Good.
where you finished. Okay, so then I'll take it with me this weekend and grade them, okay? All right.
I got all these ready.
So there was a couple that were left blank, so I was like, so you're done?
Don't say that. You can work on it.
Okay. If not done by tomorrow, great.
How you number 18?
I mean, I got it.
I got 12 more on 18.
My keys. Well, I thought I lost my keys. They're just in my backpack, so I'm just an idiot. They like fell in this little like mesh pocket and I didn't exist. And I was like, where do you work?
You got no third shoe, right?
I got all them right.
Alright, put them in the tray when you get finished. And you need a piece of graph paper on your way back. So grab a piece of graph paper and put your test back in the tray.
I want to say that right.
What? What you made?
An 83.
Alright, grab a piece of graph paper if you don't have any.
What'd you get? If I was left that
Oh, yeah.
Alright, here we go. Let's talk about a few things. First thing is, so we are in Algebra II with Trig, right? And this class is going to steadily get a little bit harder and a little bit harder. So that means if you want an A and a B, you cannot just sit there and not put any work in, right? You got to put the work in if you want the grade. Does that make sense to everybody? Y'all okay? How many times? Ask yourself, if you didn't get the grade that you wanted on that test, ask yourself how many times you came to 0 period to get tutoring. Ask yourself how many times you sent me an email and said, hey, Ms. Blackman, I need some help. Okay? So if you want the grade to go up, you got to increase your work too. Does that make sense? Yes or no? All right. So let's just put in a little bit more effort next time. The grades weren't bad at all. All right, here we go. So let's start right here. You see where it says x squared plus bx plus c? You see that? Yeah? All right. So look at the blank little box that it gives you. The ax squared term. What is that term called? A quadratic term. There you go. So what's the bx term called? A linear term. And what's the last one called? A constant. Okay? Constant is just a number. All right. Here's what you need to know. You ready? Highlight it. Star it. Know it. Got to know that formula right there. X equals negative b over 2a. X equals negative b over 2a. Gotta know it. All right, let's try a couple of them. Here we go. Number 1. All the way down at the bottom. Very first thing it says in the directions is a bunch of directions. I know it. But what's the very first thing tell us that we're going to learn? Find the y-intercept. Okay, learning targets today. Very first thing we're going to learn how to do is you're going to learn how to graph a quadratic using what first? What's the very first thing we're going to use? The y-intercept. Then what's the next thing we're going to use? Axis of what? Keep reading. Symmetry, and then what's the last thing? Vertex. So we got to have all 3 of those things in part A before we can graph it. Y'all okay? All right, here we go. Y-intercept is always that constant. What's that constant in the back without a letter? How much? 8. So you write y-intercept is 8. Are we okay so far with that one? All right, what's the next thing in part A it tells us to do? There you go. All right, what was that equation? Here we go. What was it? Negative b over 2a. There you go. All right, b is your linear term. B is your linear term. It's the term in the middle. What's the term in the middle?
6x.
Careful. Negative 6. Okay? So the negative is already in the formula. So you write negative and then negative 6. So negative in the formula and then negative 6. So what's it become, Dylan? Dylan?
6
No, the 2 negatives out of it. Okay, so positive 6. Very good. All right, Mallory. So the 2a is 2 times the first number. What's the first number understood to be? Number 1. There you go. All right, so Dylan told us that was positive 6. And then on the bottom, 2 times 1 is 2. What's that give me? X equals 3 is how you write your answer. Don't just write 3. X equals 3. And then what's the last thing we got to find? Vertex. But look, guys, you already found half of it. What's the x value you just found? How much? 3. There you go. You got your calculators ready? All right, because we're going to find the y value. Got your calculators open, on, ready to go? All right, here we go. We're going to go to y equals. Remember, I know it's been a minute since we've done it. Go to y equals. If there's anything there, clear it out.
How do you get there?
Y equals. Where my finger is? Okay. All right, what was your function? What was it on number 1? What's the function on number 1 that they give you?
X squared.
Yeah. Okay, x squared. Remember where x was? It was right next to the green button. Right next to the green button. X squared. What was it? Minus 6x, you said, Colton? Okay. So subtract 6x. And what was the last part? Plus 8. All right, don't hit any buttons. Just make sure you can get that in.
Oh.
All right, anybody having issues? Okay, so there is somewhere that you can go on your calculator that it will give you all these numbers listed. I know it's been a minute since we've done it. Does anybody remember where it is? Second graph. There you go. Second table. Second graph. Hit the second button, then hit the graph button, right? Yours may not pop up in the same number, but it should still look the same. All right, what number were we looking for? What x value are we looking for? 3. So how do we get to 3? There you go. You hit the up or the down button. And what number is with 3? So our vertex is where? Hold on. Where's our vertex at? All right, where's our vertex at? No, our vertex is not at -1. It's a whole ordered pair. What's the ordered pair? 3 -1. There you go. Everybody okay so far? All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to skip the rest of those directions for right now, and we're going to do that same thing on 2 and 3, okay? We're going to do 2 kind of together, which is on the back. And then 3, I'm going to set you free and let you work with your partner. The x value that you just found. With it. The x value was 3. So you find x is 3. You just can't put your x in with it. All right, here we go, guys. Number 2. Quick. Here we go. All right, very first thing on our learning triangle. What's the very first thing we're supposed to find? Y-intercept. What is that? How'd you get that? There you go. It's the number by itself, right? Y-intercept is 6. We got to use this stuff in just a minute to graph. All right, what's the next thing we got to find? Axis of symmetry. What's the formula for axis of symmetry? X equals, make sure you write that x equals on the front, guys, okay? X equals. Okay, B is your linear term. What's your linear term? Careful. Negative 10. So it's negative and then negative 10. So it's positive 10. Perfect. All right, A is your quadratic term. What's your quadratic term? Negative 5. I wish my bank account was negative 5 and positive 5, same thing. I can spend me a whole lot of money. Negative 5 and positive 5, not the same thing, okay? But negative 5. All right, so let's see. You said positive 10, Nathan? Why is what 0? It's not 0. And what's the bottom? Give me, Nathan. Negative 10. All right, Aaron, what's my axis of symmetry then? X equals negative 1. Very good. What's wrong? Okay. All right, what about vertex? You already found half your vertex. What's half of it? Negative 1. That's your x value. All right, go to your calculator. Go to y equals. Plug in your function, negative 5x. It's easy to clear it out first. Negative 5x on your calculator. Got it? Yeah. 11. 5. Yeah. Negative 5x squared. All right, so type in negative 5x squared. Subtract 10x. There you go. X squared. And subtract 10x. Negative 5 x squared. Subtract 10x, and then what was the rest of it? Plus 6. Subtract 10x. Plus 6. What'd y'all get, 11?
Yes.
Okay, so where's your vertex at? Negative 1 and 11. There you go. All right, number 3. You try number 3 all on your own. Okay, Riley? Yes. All right, finish again. That's wrong.
What you type in here?
Second graph. And what number are you trying to find? So scroll over down until you find negative 1. All right, you're trying number 3, guys.
Button.
Hold on.
All right, that's right. Right.
Is it plus 6? Yep. All right, and hit second graph. And what now? Oh, no, it's negative. You hit the subtract. It's negative. Then, graph breakout. All right, what number are you looking for? All right, scroll up or down. There you go. So your vertex is at negative 111. All right, y'all are doing number 3. Alright, what'd you get as your y-intercept? How much? 5. There you go. Y'all get 5 for your y-intercept? Okay, what about your axis of symmetry? What'd you get? 8 divided by 4? So 2. And what'd you get as your vertex? 2 negative 3. So now that sounds right then. Yeah, because it's 2 times A, which is 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. That gives you 4. You don't write 4 there. That means positive 8 over 4. This 2 negative has a positive 8. And this is 4. And what's that divide? There you go. Alright, now is where you need your graph paper. So grab your graph paper, okay? Grab your graph paper. This is what we're going to do from here. Alright, let's look back at our directions on the very first page. Go back to the very first page, guys. Very first page, very first page. Very first page. What did the direction say for part B? We've already done all of part A. What did part B say to do? Make a table of values. So make a note right there. Make a note right there on that one. You're going to look at your calculator. You're not actually going to write it. So make yourself a note. That way when you do your checkpoint tomorrow, you'll be good to go. On part B. On the very first page. Part B. Right, look at the calculator. You're not actually going to make one. Very good? Alright, here's what I need you to do. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to find your graph paper. Come on. Need you to find your graph paper and make a pretty large graph, at least 10 by 10. At least 10 by 10. Not the whole paper, because you got to fit 3 of them on the front and the back. So maybe about half the paper. Maybe about half the paper. Take up about half the paper to do this one problem. The other half to do the second problem. And then you'll have the back to do the third problem. Gotta be kind of big. Or I'll just wait until, just stay here until, 4th period, and once you're done, I'll take it back. Did you finish both of them? Is that everything? Do your homework?
I'll do the homework.
Okay, so let's work on that. Alright, so here we go. What was the very first thing? You gotta look back at number 1, okay? We're back on number 1. Because part C said we had to use that information to graph. So what was the very first thing that we found out on number 1? What was the very first thing we found out on number 1? What was the y-intercept? 8. So the y-intercept is on the y-axis at 8. So go up 8 places and put your dot. Go up 8 places and put your dot. Alright, what was the next thing that we found out? No, not the x-intercept. Mallory. What is it? Axis of symmetry. What was your axis of symmetry?
3.
X equals 3. Are you okay so far with that? Okay, what kind of a graph was x equals 3? What did it look like? Straight. Up and down, vertical, right? So you go to 3, and all the way down your graph, it's got to be dotted, okay? It's not really there. The only purpose that he serves is to help you graph. That's the only reason why you had to figure out where he was. It's the only reason why you're here. Okay, look, guys. What does the axis of symmetry do to your graph when you get it drawn? If it's a symmetry, hey, quit talking while I'm talking. Stop it. It curves it. If it's symmetry, what does symmetry mean? They're the same on both sides, right? Okay, what was the other thing that we found out for number 1? Found the y-intercept. We found the axis of symmetry. We found the vertex. Where was the vertex at? 3, -1. Notice how that vertex is right smack dab in the middle of your axis of symmetry. Right, Bryson?
Right.
Okay. Alright, so look, the reason you drew in the axis of symmetry is to help you graph. You only have 2 dots. How far away is this dot away from your axis of symmetry? How many places? 3 places on the left-hand side, right? So if it cuts it in half, you do 3 places on the other side to find another point. 1, 2, 3, like that. See how they're the same distance from this dot right here is 3 places away from your axis of symmetry on the left. So to find the other dot, you go 3 places on the right and put it on.
Okay, so say if it was like 4 places or 5.
Then you go 4 places on that side. Yep. That's your graph. Okay, what does an x squared graph look like? If it's got an x squared, what kind of shape does it make? A U. Make it look like a U and not a V, because I will take points off. Because a V is an absolute value, not a parabola. And what should be on the end of your graph?
Arrows.
Arrows. All right, let's go to number 2. Okay, number 2. What was the very first thing we found out about number 2?
Y-intercept.
Y-intercept, where's that?
6.
6. So go ahead and draw your graph. On the bottom part of your graph, on the bottom part of your paper, draw your graph. We're going to do all 3 of these. And then when we come back tomorrow, we'll finish out the rest of 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, 10 by 10 is good. It's fine. They don't have to be perfect. All right, what did you say the axis of symmetry was? 6?
That's what Y-intercept.
The y-intercept. Yes, you are right. Is that 6? Yes. All right, so go up 6 and put your dot, okay? All right, where was the axis of symmetry at? -1? Okay, check back and look. Make sure it's -1. X equals -1, all right? Okay, so how do we draw x equals -1 on our graph? There you go, dotted vertical line on -1, on x is -1. Right down there. Okay, what else did we find on number 2? What else did we find out on number 2? All right, where's your vertex at?
-1.
-1 and 11?
11.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There you go. Again, it's right smack dab on the axis of symmetry. It always will be. If it's not, you did something wrong. Vertex and axis of symmetry is always in the same spot. All right, so Mallory, this time, how far away is this dot from the axis this time? There's only 1 on the right. So now you go 1 on the left. And it's just a really skinny graph. And that's it. Yep, so upside down U. Okay? Alright, look, make sure you make it look like a U. Don't make it look like a V. It's a U. It's a skinny U, but it's still a U. Make sure you put arrows on the end. Don't just stop it at those points. Because it keeps going forever. You can make more points if you wanted. Alright, last one, number 3. Last one, number 3. Okay, what's the very first thing we found out on 3?
Y-intercept.
Where's it at?
5.
5. All right, go ahead and draw your graph real quick on number 3. This is the last one, so you can go on the back of your graph paper if you don't have room. This is the last one, so you can go on the back if you need to. So 5. All right, sweet. Alright, what was our axis of symmetry at? What was the axis of symmetry at? 3. Positive 2? Okay. Alright, and then the last thing should be a vertex. Where's our vertex at? 2 negative something. -3? Okay. Alright, how many places away from the axis of symmetry is that dot? You count on your paper. It's easier to see on your paper. 2. So I'm going to go 2 on the other side. It's got to be symmetrical. Same on both sides. Alright, and then that's your parabola. Make it look like a U, not a V. Put your arrows on the end, and that's it. Everybody okay? Alright, y'all got finished earlier than my other class. I know, it's alright. But look, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. That's why we're not going to go ahead and go finish up. You're going to watch a video tomorrow. It's going to be this screen. You just check it on Google Classroom. It'll be there, okay? So we'll finish out the rest of this from that video, okay? So, AJ, look, when you watch the video, you don't just go through and like you fill in everything, okay? You go through and you make sure you understand each time, okay? Aaron, good? Yeah, there's a big field trip tomorrow in there.
I'm not going to the field trip.
Why are you not going on the field trip?
No, I'm out for some minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to the field trip. Isn't that the teaching field trip tomorrow?